Hi guys, this is Erica from Gokce Capital.
Now before I begin, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications. A landowner once reached out to me to sell their property, and they were looking to sell because they had purchased this parcel in a remote Utah valley for the purposes of building a homestead. The lot was zoned residential, so they thought that they would be allowed to build a home there and live off the land. However, after they purchased the property, they discovered that the zoning designation on the property only allowed for cats and dogs, not other domestic animals like sheep, goats, or cows. Therefore, they were not able to raise the animals that they wanted to on the property and decided they had to sell the lot and continue the search for their perfect homestead. And this story is an example of why you should understand the allowable uses on your property prior to purchasing. And to understand the allowable uses on the property, you must first know the property's land use definition under the zoning code. So today's video is going to cover 5 of the most common land use definitions that you will find in zoning codes throughout the United States. But before I get to these 5 common land use definitions, bear with me for a second because I'm going to give you a little more background on land use and zoning. Land use is a bit of a nebulous concept. It can mean a couple different things. First, it can be used to describe the way in which people use their property, but it can also be the way in which a jurisdiction governs what properties can be used for and what can be built on them. And today's video is going to look at land use in this official context. Now, government regulates land and its development through zoning ordinances. These ordinances are detailed documents that spell out a number of different regulations. But what we're interested in today are the land use definitions spelled out in the zoning ordinance. The zoning ordinance will divide all properties into land use districts or categories. And these categories or districts each come with a set of allowable uses. Therefore, as a land purchaser, it's very important to understand what zoning district or category your property falls into, and then what the allowable uses of that category are. Every jurisdiction is a little bit different, and the complexity of these zoning land use categories or districts varies widely. You have some areas where there's no zoning altogether, and then you have a jurisdiction like New York City where you may have 20 different zoning districts. But regardless of the complexity, there are generally some common land use district categories that are used. So without further ado, let's go over 5 of these most common land use districts. Number 1, agricultural. This is a land use definition or district that you will often find in rural areas, and it's designed to allow for the growing and harvesting of crops as well as raising livestock. It usually also allows for single-family homes. Agricultural zoning is typically a fairly flexible zoning, so it is a popular zoning designation that folks who are buying vacant land look for, especially if they are looking to do something like homesteading. Number 2, commercial. This is the land use definition or designation that allows for a business, shop, or other infrastructure related to commerce. Commercial districts often tend to allow mixed-use buildings as well. So these are the kinds of buildings you may see in many downtowns where you have commercial or shops on the first floor and then apartments on the upper floors. Commercial is an important land use district because it is usually the only land use district or designation within a zoning ordinance that will allow for commercial buildings. So if you are looking to buy land specifically for the purposes of developing a shop, you will need the parcel to be zoned commercial. On the flip side, if you are looking to purchase vacant land in order to use it for recreational purposes or to build a home, you will likely want to stay away from property with commercial zoning. Number 3, recreational. Sometimes you will see this kind of land use district called open space or green space. But it is a zoning classification that allows for recreational uses such as parks, playgrounds, beaches, pools. Often, parcels that are designated as open space or recreational are publicly owned, but not always. For example, we were once looking at a parcel of land in the middle of a residential area in a small town in New York and discovered that it was reserved for community use. And it was the one property in the area that was not a residential lot, but had rather been set aside for use as open space. So again, if you find that the property you're looking at is zoned recreational or open space, be sure to take a thorough look at the allowable uses and make sure that you can use it as you would like. Number 4, residential. This is the zoning district or designation that allows for single-family homes, duplexes, apartments, and all other kinds of residential structures. Many zoning ordinances will have multiple sub-designations for different densities. For example, there may be a rural residential designation that only allows for single-family homes and requires larger lot sizes. And then you'll have an R1, which may allow the development of duplexes, and an R3 that could allow smaller apartment buildings. Aside from restrictions on allowable uses to residential, these districts often place restrictions on the number of homes that can be put on any one lot, as well as where a home can be placed. There may also be minimum home and lot size requirements. Thus, if you have a particular kind of home that you're looking at placing on your parcel of vacant land, such as a tiny home, be very careful and thoroughly read the zoning ordinance, or give the local planning department a call to make sure that you can develop the house that you're looking to develop. Another important thing to look out for in residential districts are regulations on mobile homes. Many areas will have residential zoning districts that do not allow for mobile or manufactured homes. So again, if this is the kind of home that you're looking to place on your vacant land, make sure you do your research ahead of time. Number 5, transport. Have you ever considered how much land is taken up by roads? In some areas, it can be as much as 20 to 25% of the land within a jurisdiction. And all of this land that is used to support road and train networks is often zoned for transportation uses. Properties zoned this way are often publicly owned, but not always. Realistically, you will likely not run across this kind of designation in your land search, since it is very rare to see a parcel in the open market that has been zoned for transportation uses. But it's good to know that this exists on the off chance that you run across it. There you have it. Those are 5 of the most common land use designations out there, but be sure to check the specifics of the zoning ordinance in the jurisdiction where you're looking to buy land. And I want to leave you with one other note, and that is that land use changes over time. As a property owner, you will want to keep abreast of any proposed changes in land use and be aware that the zoning designation your property may hold when you buy it may change over the course of your ownership. And do you have any stories about land use? Let us know in the comments. And if you like this video, you're going to love our Gokce Land Due Diligence program. We'll make you a land due diligence expert in 7 days. Check it out at gokcecapital.com/glad. And while you're at our website, don't forget to explore our $1 down properties at gokcecapital.com/listings. Finally, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can email, call, or text, and we will respond as soon as possible. So thank you for listening, and more to come.